Hello, peeps. Welcome to another episode of Satisfactory. So, we left off on our last episode. We had finished making up, basically making our our copper plant as efficient and effective as we can in our current progression. So, I said I was going to come over to the woods and collect up some materials for biomass. And I've been just picking up the wood off the ground and picking up any leaves, and I came across one of these things. Now they're not used for anything in the game yet, the Mercer Sphere. They're a work in progress, but the cool thing with these is if you sit here long enough and don't do anything, it'll talk to you or whisper to you basically. So let's hear if we can hear it.
I strongly advise you to harvest this specimen.
Now, that's the only saying that I've ever heard it say, but I've never really listened to it that much or that closely. But from what I've heard and read, it's supposed to say, there's a couple other sayings it could say.
Harvest.
Well, it just told me to harvest. Maybe we'll wait one more time and see what it says the next time.
Your contract legally compels you to harvest this artifact.
Okay. So our contract basically tells us we have to harvest it. So we're gonna harvest it, grab up some more of this wood and leaves. See, on this, before you have the chainsaw, this is like the place to come to get some wood, is in these little wooded areas. There's like a lot of wood laying on the ground that you can pick up pretty quickly and easily. Some SAM ore. That's not used in the game yet either. So I think I'm just gonna leave it for right now. Eventually we'll go start gathering up some of that.
The MAM has completed its analysis.
Oh, nice. Our hard drive is done. Alright, let's head back home. Oh, there's a power slug. Do I have enough space? Yes, I do. Can I get up there, though? I don't know if I can get up there in my current without the, Oh, yeah, I can. Woohoo! Hello, little power slug. Nice. Berries? Yes, I will. Okay, so how much wood did we end up getting? So we have 156, or actually 256 wood. 258. So we should be set on biofuel for a while. And especially if we try that, research in the MAM for the alien carapace, and that will I believe that will give us the ability to be able to use that to make biofuel with that. Oh, here's some more wood. Let's clean this area up a little bit. So we need we need biofuel because we need to be able to keep our stuff running. So, and this is right on the way home. So, I didn't really do much off camera. All I did was ran over there, and then I saw that sphere. So we're gonna drop that into our storage here. We're gonna drop the flower petals into there. Maybe the power slug. Maybe we should research the power slug, because then we can underclock stuff, which will help us with our power consumption. Oh, and our so we have an alternate recipe for reinforced iron plate, which is 10 plates and 24 screws. Actually, I think I want to unlock this right away because this one gives me the ability to basically manufacture screws with one less step. So instead of having a constructor making rods going into another constructor to make the screws, I can just have straight into one constructor with screws. So we're gonna do this one as our recipe that we're taking. And then
Data on the hard drive has been salvaged and can be repurposed to unlock an alternate recipe. Salvaging more hard drives will provide additional alternate recipes.
Okay, so we're gonna do this is a 5-minute research, and let's grab those. This is a 7-minute. Alright, let's do the power slug, and then we can do the alien carapace after that. So biofuel. Let's make all the biomass we can quickly here. And then we will make all of the biofuel that we can. And of course we're full. Drop that into there. Does that give me enough for another? Alright, so we can make 800 and some biofuels, so this should last us for a while. I don't know if it'll last us long enough to get to coal yet, but at least this is quick. I mean, we could automate this, but I kind of feel like it would be a waste of time. But basically what you do is you set up a storage container that feeds into a constructor, and the constructor does what I'm basically doing, which, I mean, it wouldn't be terrible to do. And you construct it. The only thing is you have to have 2 separate constructors for the leaves and the wood, because each one is a different recipe, but then they can be merged back into one because it goes into, they both make biomass, and then from there you can have another constructor which makes the actual biofuel. So I just feel like it's not necessarily worth it for us. So for now we're just gonna do it by hand, and just hopefully I don't have to do it too often, and we can get into coal relatively quickly here. So let's just finish this up. The nice thing is that we have a good chunk of, so I'm just gonna dump in 200, 200, 200, and 200. Okay, and then the extra we're gonna throw into storage. Throw the wood in there, the fuel in there. We're gonna keep those on us. And I actually think that's about all. So let's do this milestone. What did I do with the? Okay, I still have the iron, reinforced iron plate, so we're gonna throw those in there. Go grab wire and cable. Actually, hang on. Yeah. How much time is left on this research? We need to be more effective with our time. Minute and a half. Alright, let's go get these items first. Because when that research is complete, when we go up there, we should be able to underclock the other things up there. Alright, we need 200 of these. I'm going to grab a few of these just to have in my inventory. Because I think the other thing we need to do this episode now is that with that unlocked recipe that we got is I'm going to set up the other miner down at the end and have that one start making screws for us. And then I probably should flip-flop these two. Have the first one start doing the rods and have the middle one start doing the plates, because then I can use the outputs of those with the plates and the screws to start automating the reinforced iron plates. I put this up here so I could try to get a screenshot for the last episode, but it was nighttime, so I think we'll grab 200 of those just to have some extra. And then we'll grab 1,000 of those just to have some extra. Oh, and I forgot about the research again. Okay. 100, 200, 250, and 50. Okay, so this will give us their chainsaw.
Milestone reached.
Which will
Additional
really make
to
it
an
easy to
inventory
get
expansion,
wood.
you are now capable of removing foliage that consists primarily of wood.
Our research is done, so the analysis of the green power slug is completed. Please choose a new specimen in the list to begin a new analysis. So we'll confirm that.
The crystals on this slug can be harvested and converted into a power shard that functions with current fix-it technology. Several buildings would be capable of performing over 100% capacity if infused. The derived blueprint is now accessible in Hub Tier 1.
And let's do this alien care piece. Start that. Throw the rest of those in there. And we have to do the research. Or we have to do the milestone, so alternate screw, we better do that. We need 50 ingots though. Because we're going to set that up. So what we can do is just go over here. Hopefully this is full. It is not. Is this one full? It is. Alright. We just need 50. So I'm actually going to throw the rest of that in there. Alright. Perfect. Actually, I could have looked here. There was enough. There would have been enough in there. I looked in the wrong machine, but that's alright. Now, since this, I believe since this is a different type of milestone, because this is a milestone. This is a milestone that's, oh, I can't. I thought I could put the items in there, but I'm not able to yet. Not until our pod returns. Alright, so let's grab our miner. We can get everything set up ahead of time. Let's make sure, so we have all of the things for our miner MK1. We have our smelter. We have enough items for that. And our constructor, which we perfectly have enough for that. We also did unlock the assembler with our last research. I believe that was, oh, we unlocked a bunch of new walls. And the lookout tower, which is kind of cool. Alright, so we can get our miner set up. I said, I think let's switch this over to iron rods. We'll come straighten out the inventory in it later. And we'll switch this one over to iron plates. Let's pick you up. And let's grab our miner MK1. And then we're going to try to do the trick with the foundation and try to line this up as good as we can. Now I know all of these are going to be on a little bit different grid from each of the different, like if I try to build this over, it's not going to, well, it almost does. How close was it to? That's almost perfect. It wouldn't be though if I actually moved it over like and butted up, but I'm not too worried about that. I mainly just want the miners kind of on a platform, because from there I'll branch off with the conveyor belts and stuff. So let's throw our miner back on there. Let's build out a little ways. Clean this up a little bit. So we need our smelter. Lift you up. You are going to do iron. And then we need our constructor. And we can connect you up. And what we probably should look at doing would be, actually probably would be here. Oh, maybe we should have lined them up. So what I'm thinking that we should probably do would be, this thing will come off and make screws. And I'll put a splitter here. Half of the screws will go into storage. And then half of the screws will split off this way. And then go into an assembler. And then half of the plates would come off. Half would go into storage. Half would come here into the assembler. And then these two would make the reinforced iron plates. How close was this one to being centered? Pretty good too. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link it up with this platform. I mean, it's so close that you don't even hardly dip down. So then what we'll do is a splitter. Make sure we have this turned the right way. Split it. We're gonna grab that. Gotta grab that. We need a splitter here. Then I don't know if I'll have enough. I probably don't have the parts to make the assembler though. So we're gonna have to handcraft some items. Again, it's part of the early. Basically, it's kind of part of the early progression. So I don't think there's any way around it. Alright, let's get this thing fed through. This thing fed through. And what we can't do yet is we don't have the recipe for that. And it's got to check how we are on power. We're 60, 72. It kind of looks like we top out at 72. So we're gonna have to add another. We're gonna have to add another biofuel. So let's finish this research. That milestone's done, so now that recipe's unlocked for us. We're gonna do this one next. So we can unlock the ability to overclock. Which I hope and I'm assuming it'll give us the ability to underclock. I don't know for sure. It might only, I know there's other research that you can do, other milestones that you get that also say the overclocking. So maybe it's only overclocking. I gotta remember what we're... Alright, so we got it now. So this is producing 45 per minute. This only needs 30 per minute. So if we drop this down to, let's say 75, will that bring it down to just 30? That's 33.3. So see up here, it tells you how much you're making per minute, and we want to match this. We want to match this with what this needs. We're gonna do 68. Now you are capable of typing it in too, so sometimes it gets a little hard to drag that little slider to the precise number that you want. But now see, now our copper ingot need is reduced now, so now we're only needing like 20 per minute, which means then we could drop this down to only kick out 20 per minute. Probably the closest one. Alright. We'll leave it at that. So, that should actually help stabilize some of our power. And we'll be able to do the same down there. So we might actually be able to not have to add... Ideally, it'd be nice to not have to add another biofuel generator. But we're gonna grab... maybe not. We are slightly full. Alright, we'll leave that. Let's go try and see what we have for efficiencies that we can do. in the other machines, because if we can reduce our power, so this is making 30 per minute, and this needs 45 per minute. So this isn't even producing enough for this. But we can underclock this now down to the point where we're at least 100% effective. Try 67. Okay, that's probably about as close as we're gonna get. So this is kicking out 30 per minute. See, and that drops the power consumption of this all the way down to 2.1, which really helps with our power. Yeah, it reduces the amount of concrete that we're getting, but now if we look at our power, it looks like we're capping out at 65 now. So now we need to look at these guys. This is kicking out 60. This can only take 30 in. So what we're going to do is drop this down to 50%, which is going to drastically drop our power consumption. So now we're producing 30, and now we're all the way down to 1.6 megawatts an hour. Or megawatts, I don't know if it's an hour or what, but so now it's kicking out 30, which then this is maximized for that, and it's getting 30, and this needs 15, so this is still going to be full. But I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. See how much smoother our power is getting, and I'm sure these probably should be the same way. This needs 30 per minute. That produces 30 per minute, but this kicks out 60. So we're going to drop this down to 50 for now. In the future, we'll be able to better maximize this as we get farther progressed. So now our power should keep leveling out, and this is going to be the same way, so we're going to drop this down to 50 right away. Let's bring our power kind of over here. So now when we look, if we look before we didn't have this, but now we do. So now we have our alternate screw recipe, which this only needs 15 per minute. And we're kicking out 30. I wonder if we should drop this down to 50. Should be kicking out 15 per minute, and that's all this needs. And we're inching close to that. We actually could probably drop this down to 25. I think would be should be 15 per minute. Yeah. So now this little line right here currently is at operating at 100% efficiency for what our machine can handle. But once we start branching this off and making it bigger, then we can up our clock speed. That should allow us to keep our power. I mean, our power is relatively flat, and it looks like maxing out at 65. 67. So we have 13 to play with, and we make an assembler, it takes 15. Yikes. So we might need to actually might need to make another biofuel generator anyway. Well, this only needs 15, so we could half this for now. These are kind of temporary settings until we progress farther. We'll drop that down to 25. We will drop that down to 25. So that's producing 15, 15 to 15, and then 15 out, 15 in, 15 out. Okay. And what's that do for our power? Wow. It's like perfectly flat at 66, which still doesn't give us enough power for what we need for the assembler, unless we underclock the assembler from the start. But in order to make the assembler, we need to craft up a few things by hand. And let's see what other milestones we want to do. So I think now we're going to do the personal inventory, which we can do right away. So let's go ahead and do that. Drop that in there, drop that in there, and drop that in there. Sort, launch. Oops.
Milestone reached. Additional storage options have been provided. R&D inflated your pocket dimension and developed a personal storage box accessible in the build menu.
Okay, see you later, pod. And what we have next. So with that one, we got our our inventory slots was increased. So now we can carry more, and we are able to make this personal storage box, which is nice because it's like it's like this thing here. And what it'll allow me to do is, I don't know if I have the ability to, if I can make it yet. Oh yeah. What it'll allow me to do is throw it down right there, and I can store our biofuel stuff in there. That way, instead of that taking up any inventory space in this one, so wood, biofuel, and leaves. Okay. And then we will drop all of this stuff off here. Let's check our MAM research. So the analysis is completed. Please choose a new specimen in a list to begin a new analysis. So we did that.
Additional samples are required for R&D to continue developing a defense-oriented blueprint. The creature has been named Phacocoirus plummiuscata, or fluffy-tailed
Comes our pod
hog.
back already. Wasn't gone very long. So we can do jump pads or walkways, or the conveyor walls. Let's finish off tier 1 this episode, and then we'll wrap this one up because we already have everything for this milestone too. So, except for plates, we don't have enough plates, but we just don't have enough plates in our inventory. We have more than enough over here in the storage. In fact, I'm going to take it all, 'cause this is now making rod, so. And we'll save we'll actually save the assembler for our next episode.
Milestone reached. To ensure
now if we
optimal
look
use of
at
space,
our
navigation,
crafting,
and tidiness, R&D have
Now we
developed
can make
stairs
these
and
walls
conveyor
with
walls.
the conveyor belt stuff in them. And we can make stairs. I have yet to make any of these stairs, so I don't know even how they look or how they work. And I think that is all of our new stuff. So then next, we finished all the tier 1, all the tier 0. Now we're back onto tier 2. And then from there we need to, for sure we need to look at setting up our space elevator somewhere. But for now, I guess we'll do this one. The pod will be back in a minute. Which I guess we could wait for the pod to show back up. And if we look in here, so we have our alternate screw. Let's make this stuff for our assembler now. So we need 3 modular frames, which is reinforced iron plates, which that is screws. So let's go ahead and make screws. We have, the nice thing is we actually do have some iron ingots in our inventory. So we can make a bunch of screws. And I think I'll just make enough to make like 20 reinforced iron plates. So let's craft these up semi-quickly here. Modular frame, we'll make all 6 of them that we're capable of making. And then we needed rotors, which is more screws. So it's a good thing we got screws going. Screws are needed in quite a few recipes, and actually getting that alternate recipe as early as we did was actually pretty good for us. So it'll help us in the long run. So let's make some rotors quick, and then we'll be set up for our next episode to start the assembler. Obviously we'll need to make another, so we actually have enough to make a couple assemblers because we made enough modular frames, which might not be too bad because we do need to start looking at automating rotors. And let's see, we need to automate. So we have plates, rods, wires, cables, screws, concrete. We're going to do reinforced iron plate next. So then next after that we need to look at is rotors, which is rods and screws, and modular frames, which are reinforced. So this little area over here is going to get a lot more crowded and a lot more busy. So maybe what we'll need to do is start looking at actually building our first actual factory basically in this area, and we can start bumping up our production of this stuff. Maybe we just bring in all of the, maybe we just amp up all of these miners up to 100%, shuffle all of the ore into a line, split it out into splitters, smelters inside here, and do everything inside. But we'll have to figure that out. But we are going to finish this episode up here. Wanted to do this quick. We have the resources for it, except for we're 2 rods short. But the rods are kind of close. I hear I thought I heard that guy, but should make a chainsaw and clean up some of this area, which I could probably do that off the camera. Alright, jump pads are ready.
Milestone reached. Buildings aimed at factory traversal, including several different categories of jump pads, can now be accessed in the build
How close
menu.
are we for walkways?
Caution is recommended
Can we
during
unlock
use of these
all of,
products.
finish up tier 2 this episode quickly? No, we're not, because I could very easily handcraft 8 reinforced iron plates, but we'll get those off of our automation when we automate those in the next episode. So we're going to leave this episode here. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit the like button if you liked what you saw, and subscribe if you want to see more content. And I will talk to everybody later. See ya.